Hello. Oh, God. Got some orange juice. I'm doing this because I think I'm going fucking mad. Today's been really weird. It's hard to switch off. It's really hard to switch off from all this stuff to do with this. I don't think of it as a case. It's not an obsession. It's just all so wrong. And I can't get over it. I just feel angry all the time about it, and I just think this system's just gonna drag it on, isn't it? I don't know how we. Is this going to go on for years? It's going to go on for years, is it? Is my microphone working? It probably. I don't know if it is or not. I look ill because I feel ill. It just makes you ill, doesn't it? What about Lucy Letby when she was first charged with this, and the horror of realizing what they're doing, the horror of it, and the horror her parents felt and her friends, the horror of that. I'm just getting some orange juice because I'll just talk to myself. And I might be somebody listening. I don't know, and even if there isn't, I know I've gone on about this bloody unheard thing, and I don't know. It just really bothered me. Once something is being done well, and then you take this. God, my hair is fucking weird. I look weird. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, does it? It's bollocks to that. Don't care. Once they've done all this good stuff and you're on the verge of it, and then you're pissing around. Anyway, maybe I don't need to keep. Maybe I've got to stop this. Maybe it's embarrassing. But and then all the Jed Mercurio stuff. It's all like some weird game, isn't it? All these people just kind of. Where's their focus at? I mean, I don't think they give that. Are they not bothered? Are they? Whether it's. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know whether they're bothered or not. And that thing I said that people are. What did I say? Can't work it out. That people are. That thing I said that they got on the gardening leave thing. Well, it hasn't been confirmed, but it hasn't been denied either. Hasn't been confirmed. Hasn't been denied. I trust the source in that. And anyway, let them deny it then. Let the hospital deny it. There's all these people just keeping it all to themselves, isn't it? Keeping all this information to themselves, and things have to be leaked. Everything's got to be leaked, and people are frightened. And why is that? Why is everyone frightened? Maybe this stream was a bad idea. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe, why do they... What are they frightened of? All the people who work in the hospital or the police? But they're frightened of just being punished, aren't they? They're frightened of losing their jobs, of being punished or being ostracized, the career being disappeared, the pension going. What a state, what a world we're living in. There's a health service and they're terrified of their employers. They're not allowed to speak the truth. And some of them wanted to go and support Lucy Letby at the trial, and they were told they shouldn't do it. That's monstrous, you know. I don't know if anybody's there. Oh, it says 5 people. Anyway, maybe I'll stop it in a minute. It don't make sense. I wish I had a drink, because today's it's just been mad. I can't switch off from it. I can't switch off from thinking about it. And I wish us lot that are talking about it all the time, I wish we had more influence and power, not for its own sake, but to get access. Because this is it, the ordinary person gets what's going on. The ordinary person gets it, don't they? I don't know if people can hear me. The ordinary person understands this is just dreadful, and it's like we've got to sit back. We're not being passive, but we're kind of like sitting back and waiting on these absolute set of bastards to do something. I know there's good people trying to work for it, like Mark McDonald and Shuley, amazing people. It's brought out the best people, but then you're at the mercy of these absolute, what do you call them? Absolute. Pat, hi Pat. Well, I don't know. I think I'm tipping over the edge. I mean, I think sometimes we all are. I think this is why I was going to do this, saying this now, is that, and I've noticed it in other people as well. It's kind of, it's caught something in a lot of us, isn't it? It's not just about, it is about Nurse Lucy Letby, but it's about the truth. It's about decency and honor and living in a world that makes sense. I don't know. I probably need a break from it for a bit. I mean, I don't know Jed Mercurio, but you know, you see these little exchanges, and he's going to protect it. Oh, it's nothing. It's about my work. They're talking about my work. Well, why not make a statement about you've been approached? You know, this Jed Mercurio, he's been approached by someone. Are you interested in doing a drama about this? And doesn't want to make any definitive statement about it. To say what would the honourable thing be to say? Well, look, I can see as an individual. He could say, I can see as an individual that this case, as that newspaper article said, there's a lot more in this case than we first thought. That is it. That's all you need to say. And that's the thing he's denying was said. Because like, you don't want to make any statement. You don't want to make any statement. Because it even came into the trial, didn't it? The fact that Jayaram was like, you know, the retrial thing. That he was up for like bloody, I don't know if he's going to be in it. He was never going to be in it, was he? I think he's going to be like an advisor, wasn't he? Probably give him some kind of cameo. And I saw things on Twitter today which showed Jayaram like in a rehearsal room or something, like saying he's been taking acting lessons. Well, he doesn't need acting lessons. He's been acting for years. He does it all the time. He doesn't need any lessons. Why does he need any lessons, Jayaram? The criminal going back to the scene of the crime, yeah. That's a good point. But what Pat says there, you know, do you think, how do we calibrate it? I mean, how do you switch off from it? I mean, I know people have to switch off, and maybe it's because anyway, perhaps it is going to get better anyway. He's been acting almost his entire life. I think so, yeah. What was that thing that came up in the article in the Mail? It goes, whenever there was a camera around, everybody knew. And a nurse has said this, but so which nurse is that? I'm not saying I need to know the names or anything, but it's like everybody knows it. All this stuff is known by everybody. Known what he is. And yet somehow that system kind of works for him. And then he gets interviewed by a guy who's got the same agent as him. It's the incestuousness of it, isn't it? Maybe I am thinking about it all too much, but I mean, you got Jed Mercurio. Do you think they've had lunch? You know, they go for a lunch at the Ivy or wherever, I don't know, some posh restaurant. Not going to be McDonald's, is it? And they go for lunch or something. Oh, Beverly, I'm Chester-based, says Beverly. Everyone else can read it, can't they? He adores an audience. Yeah, well, he does. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, but it's taken precedent over what his proper job was, isn't it? It's taken precedent over it. And if you then put it into a performance about lying to destroy someone's life, the way it's gone, though, the way it's gone is that every one of those people who got that email, and we know now that, you know, Breary was at the 15th of May meeting, so we know that we haven't got whether it was written down, maybe it was never written down, you see. But if Jairam, when he comes out, he punches the air. But in that meeting, if he says, well, you know, he does the spiel about, I was hysterical and I went over there and missed out the bit that that Lucy Letby called him in, that he'd said in the email. He's not embellishing, he's missing something out, and that's totally calculated. And Breary and whomsoever listening to him when he's doing that in the meeting on the 15th with the police officers, they know he's lying, or that they know, well, yeah, he's lying by omission, isn't he? And they know it. So wouldn't you? This is the trouble with people when they're acting in a group, isn't it? Because you can imagine they're around a desk there, and we know Breary's there, and I don't know who else is there on the 15th. I'd have to look that up again. And if Jairam says, yeah, and I went in there because I was in this kind of trance of hysteria, and I walked in there, and she hadn't called me out or anything, wouldn't they be looking at each other? Or Breary would go, no, you said she called you in, didn't you? Remember the email, Ravi? Remember the email, Ravi? It was only 11 days ago. Just 11 days ago, we got the email. I can show it to you. Look, I'll bring it up on the phone. But they didn't do that, did they? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just wittering on. I've got nothing new to say, but it's... although I did find out the name of Dr. B today, and I hadn't known the name of Dr. B, but I do know the name of Dr. B now. Maybe other people have known it for a long time. I just didn't know it. I knew the other two. They're easy to get, aren't they? Thanks, Pat. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not trying to make myself like a big deal of it, but it's just, it's not like a rabbit. It's like going into an abyss, isn't it? When you see what they're doing. I think that's what threw me today, is like, there's all this good sense and there's all this brilliance, like around Shu Lim and Michael McDonald, all these experts. I'll read the comment in just a second. I'll just say there's all these experts, and then you get them wanting to shoot the shit with Snowden and this guy called Ben Cole, who's absolutely like a fifth-rate troll. That don't make any sense. Why would you do that? But I'm stuck on that. Beverly says he can't wriggle out of this forever. It isn't possible. The new maternity building is always to open in the summer. Yeah, I thought it was going to be opening in 2025. I'll be stunned if the COCH are so reckless as to involve him in the ribbon cutting. Well, if he has been put on this gardening leave stroke suspension thing. Yeah, Lucy has light on her side, Beverly says. Keep your chin up. Thank you, Beverly. That's true. She has got light on her side. She has. I think it's just a sense that we're facing the whole machinery of it. And obviously she's facing it directly, and her life's been stolen. And the poor parents and her friends and our other family. And those other parents that have been they've been used as pawns, haven't they, by the police and the doctors and the police and the CPS have used those parents as pawns in the most horrific way. They've got to know that by now. I mean, the people that have done it, you know. It's coming up to 3 in the morning, isn't it? I don't know where everybody is, so not everybody can sleep. Oh, I don't know. It's just driving you mad. It drives you mad, doesn't it? Wesley Watley. Hi, Wesley Watley. Hi, everybody listening. I didn't do the StreamYard thing because I don't know. I just felt a bit nervous. I'll probably stop in a minute, but it's just kind of out of a desperation. It's just, hey, hi, Wesley. Hi, everyone else. Hi, everybody. Where's it going to go from here? Why can't the CCRC just... That was something that bothered me. I made a point of this. Why does David Rose say I was going to take at least a year for the CCRC to... He doesn't know that, does he? I mean, you know, it might be making a fair kind of guess, but why should it take a year? It should be able to do it in a few weeks. Do it in a few weeks, maybe a month or 2 months. By the end of the summer, have a decision by the end of the summer. Because if you're not doing that, and they had the team already ready to go, didn't they? Then, yeah, well, this is it. I think this is the horror of it, Beverly. Beverly Wolf says, what they've done is heinous, unfathomable wickedness. I think that's the thing that has gripped so many people. And I sensed it meeting people in Liverpool when you meet people face to face, that people are kind of haunted by it in a way. I just think I'm not trying to like get over the top about it, but it's just very, very disturbing. It's disturbing. When I first started learning about it, it was kind of mirroring nothing like the same situation, but it was mirroring a horrible situation that was going on in my life and has continued all the way through. So there was a kind of a echo of that going on all the way through, about dealing with very weird, including the police, very weird institutions, and sort of a psychopathic individual. And I think these doctors, some of them at least, I don't know whether they're all psychopathic. I know these words are thrown around a lot, and I throw them around too much, like narcissists. I mean, they're everywhere now, aren't they, all the time? But, well, there is narcissism there. There's definitely a lack of... Gibbs, am I right in thinking Gibbs? I know I'm dotting all over the place, but Gibbs, he's like training to be a priest or a vicar or something, or like a lay preacher. Is that right? Did I make that up? Did I dream that Gibbs, after what he's part of, and he must know he's part of it. He must know that. What was one of those 10 commandments? Thou shalt not bear false witness. And Gibbs is like training to be a priest. Yeah, what on earth? Why give the trolls? Beverly says, I agree, read David Rose chat. What on earth is he thinking? Why give the trolls an even bigger platform than they do already? Well, that's true, actually. Because this Snowden guy, I don't know why they think he's any good, but he's kind of he's in that world of writing because maybe they just all like each other. Maybe they just, maybe it's all a game to them and they just, maybe there's something wrong with me that I wouldn't want to be in the same room as a bastard like Snowden. I just couldn't bear it. I'm not saying with any of this that people haven't got the right to have their opinions. They can say what they want. But it's just the idea that you get all chummy with them and, oh, let's do this. Let's hire out this hall and let's sell tickets. Let's do a poster and let's do it all together. Hi, Amanda Hatara, because they want to wipe the floor with them. Well, that's a good point. So they want to demonstrate how they can destroy them in argument. Well, that's a great point. There's one little bit that works against that for me personally, is that they've made it exclusive, haven't they? You've got to pay 20 quid to see it. And the spirit of everything that people have been doing, Michael McConville, Richard Gill, I mean, all these professionals with these professional backgrounds. I'm not just saying they're the only people that matter, but I'm just saying people that with all these professional backgrounds, all the work that they've shared from their skill base, as it were, and experience has all been for everyone to see. But this is an exclusive thing that they're doing. Well, it's I think it's a live event that you could. I think based on the ticket thing, you can go there in person and pay 20 quid up to a certain number of tickets. And it's in this, I didn't know anything about Unheard, but they're backed by, hi, I only emerge after dark. Well, yeah, only emerge, yeah, I only emerge after dark as well. And before the dark. Oh, it's always dark. Sorry, I'll just catch up on the notes. Having a break from trying to sleep. Yeah, I have trouble sleeping as well. Is it a live event or in person? So yeah, I think there are tickets you can get to watch it for 20 quid, remotely. Maybe some people watch it and they'll say, no, it was good because they kind of obliterated them, but I don't know. It sounded like David Rose was going to kind of chair it or something. And then who's on side? Because, and then they got this, what's his name? Adam, someone who's I don't think he's a KC, he's a barrister, but whatever he is. So what's he going to be up to? I think part of it is calling it a retrial. I think that's just not a retrial. Is it? Do they call it a retrial? No, an alternative trial. I think that's just ugly and crass. Anyway, that's just, I know I'm moaning all today. But yeah, Amanda Hatara, maybe they want to wipe the floor with them and maybe they will, and maybe we'll see that at some point. Wesley Watley says, the interview's hidden. FOI request on the interviews, too revealing. Oh, like the police interview, like the 15th one. Oh, and the other interviews, this is what Operation Merlin Falcon talks about, that we should be able to see more of the interviews. There was 30 hours of interviews for Nurse Lucy Letby, wasn't there? 30 hours. And you just get these tiny snapshots. And then in court, they're just, what are they doing in court? They're just they're play acting them, aren't they? They play act them and like the bloody, what's his face? Johnson starts reading bits of it out and other people are just hideous. Beverly Wolf says, Mark McDonald will be phoning in. Have I heard that correctly? Oh, phoning in really to that thing going on. Oh, God, really? Oh, it gets worse. Oh, yeah, Adam King is a Lucy supporter. Yeah, I mean, so maybe that's, yeah. I mean, there's nobody that what they should have had. They should have asked Michael McConville if he would have wanted to go, or Dr. Scott McLachlan, or Richard Gill. You know, people with some. Anyway, I know I'm going on about it, but yes, but not certain. Mark, oh, he's going to phone in because he's on a holiday. I thought he was on a holiday, so he's going to ring in, and I don't think it meshes up with what his position is. You know, doing this, having this chat with people like Ben Cole. I mean, when I was on Twitter, I used to see him trolling everybody. I just couldn't believe it when I saw it. I just thought, how has that happened? How have they plucked out this complete goon out of Twitter, like a not even a clever troll, just this kind of moron, and they've just plucked him out and said, "Oh yeah, don't call it a trial. Don't do that." Anyway, it doesn't look good. No, it doesn't look good, does it? My fairy light's on at the moment. Can't get the lighting guy's day off. Snowden is just hideous. Ben Cole, he's just like, I don't know what he is. He's just some freak show that appeared like a long time back on Twitter and started trolling everybody and start taking the piss. But he's of the same stamp as Snowden. He's exactly like Snowden. And I've seen it, and I blocked him ages ago, and I had different accounts on Twitter. And they, both of them, they absolutely getting off on, you know, I've seen Snowden almost going like laughing. You can see what he's sneering and going, "Oh yeah, Lucy Letby, we'll get back to court, but it will be to have more charges. They'll put more charges against her. That's the only way she's getting back to court." That's what he said, and he did that loads of times, and he's just hideous, Snowden. Maybe I'm losing my grip on it, because it's just, I do take it. It feels very personal. It just feels like it's seeing bullying. It's seeing the extension of bullying, isn't it? Snowden, and the way he was with David Davis, that was just repellent. He's a repellent creature, Snowden. Not saying he hasn't got the right to say it. I'm not saying any of that. Let him crack on with it, then, you know. But we don't have to like it. I don't have to like him. You don't have to like it, do you? I just see him as an extension of the consultants and an extension of Nicholas, what's his name, that bastard prosecutor, Nicholas Johnson. He's just another one of them. The idea of a fake trial, I only emerge after dark, says, the idea of a fake trial is obnoxious. Whatever the outcome of the fake trial, it undermines the process that we hope will eventually exonerate Lucy. Absolutely. It's a mockery. It's a mockery. You know, it's like there's actually been a witch trial. There has been a witch trial. And the person that they've designated a witch is being punished. And now they're play acting another one. Now they're playing it, and they're getting some witch hunters in to do it all over again and charging people to watch it. No, it's a piece of shit. My instincts are right. For me, they're right. Other people can feel what they want. Of course they can. I'm not saying what anybody else should think or do or feel about it. I just bloody hate it. Well, do you know what I mean? Well, are they getting paid? Well, they own this building. You know, I think somebody said about renting a building. No, I mean, Unheard is run by a person that owns one of the biggest hedge funds in Europe. So money is not an issue for this organization. It's got huge amounts of money, and they own this place called the Unheard. It's like a cafe thing or some kind of meeting hall, and that's where they have their live events. So it's nothing to do with that they need to recoup money for it. But if they get quite a number of people, I don't know what the seating arrangements are, but if they get like X number of seats, people in person, people for some reason who want to see Snowden in the flesh. Why would you want to do that? Maybe some people love him. Maybe some people think he's handsome or whatever. Oh, God knows. There's all kinds, isn't there? You know, people. Oh, God. And then, what was I going to say? I've lost my track, lost my thread. Oh yeah, and then if they're selling tickets for online through some kind of camera setup, they could. Do you know? I mean, they're going to be paid. They're going to be paid. I don't know. It's their business. I get all that. They're going to pay this troll Ben Cole probably about how much? Several £100 for turning up there and talking and just being hideous. It's just disgusting. At least I'm not drinking, but I wish I had a whiskey or something. I'll have a drink. I don't drink that much. Sometimes I don't drink for ages and ages, but I just needed. I haven't got anything in. Amanda Hatari says, I can't believe that it would be a trial. Unheard decided on that name. Yeah, it's quite possible that they're using that as a bit of a clickbait thing. And what they're actually doing is just kind of, they're taking turns. They'll just listen to these two assholes rattle off some stuff, and then David Rose will say, oh, but what about this? What about that? Then the arseholes will carry on sneering, and it will just be a replay of what they do on Twitter, which is not to acknowledge anything. It's at the level of crime scene to courtroom with Snowden and the other one. It's like, you know, but you've missed all this. Oh, but they don't count. They just wait, like Snowden will go, oh, it doesn't matter about Shu Lee and the 15 or maybe even up to 25 world-class experts. Doesn't matter. I'm Snowden. There's something utterly vile about that individual. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't let the hatred eat me up. It's eating me up. It's eating me up. It feels very personal. It's just because I just know people. I've met people like that. And anyway, it's terrible what he is. I'm not saying he hasn't got the right to be that way. I'm not saying that. If money is not an issue for them, there would be no fee at the fake trial. Well, that's true. I mean, you mean no fee to pay to listen to it, or no fee for them? But they're still going to probably have some deal with all the participants are probably going to get money. Yeah, they'll probably get money. Yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking the idea of people. If people want to make money out of however they want to make money, but it's just. Oh, I don't know. No, I don't like this, what they're doing. I don't like this. Of course I don't. Beverly Wolf says, I don't know if you said this or somebody else said it about PSYOP, because a few people have said this. Feels like one big PSYOP sometimes. This case is insane. Poor Lucy. That's exactly how I feel. I've read about 3 or 4 comments today, and I can't remember which ones are on Twitter, which ones on YouTube. And people are saying, it's like, it's too hard to grasp the insanity and the evil of this. It's got to become some kind of PSYOP. And then you've got this like dramatization story now, and that's come into it. I Only Emerge After Dark agrees with Beverly and about the PSYOP possible, thing. No fee for us. Oh, sorry, no fee for us, you say. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Well, that's true. Well, exactly. Yeah, well, exactly. So why then? Yeah. Patrick Bateman. Oh, isn't he? He's from American Psycho, isn't he? Or sorry, maybe that is your name. I beg your pardon. I take that back. But I don't know if they're real names. But anyway, sorry, Patrick. Nothing personal. Look how they can't handle Dr. Phil Hammond's questions. Exactly, they can't handle it. They can't handle the truth. Dr. Phil Hammond has been putting out this request for anybody to support, anybody in the world to support the prosecution's experts from 22-23. Answer came there, none. Nobody will trying to get a bit of mood lighting going here. Nobody will support them. Not even not even all the other experts. It's only Evans who ever said anything afterwards, and all the other ones have kind of feeling really old and drains you, doesn't it? Does it drain you? Does it everybody? Is it draining? It's draining, isn't it? Because I'm not moaning because of just what Lucy Letby is going through, but it's the whole thing is sinister. The whole thing about the police is sinister, and Hummingbird and Operation Duet now, and all these stupid names. Yeah, A Liberated Mind. I watched A Liberated Mind, Wesley. I agree with you, Patrick Bateman, about Phil Hammond's questions. Wesley says about A Liberated Mind makes many great points. It is personal. I agree. I watched Liberated Mind today. He's doing a part 2, if people haven't seen it, about Judge Goss's summing up. It's really good on the Liberated Mind channel. Amanda Hatara says, maybe it's just raising the name and money for Unheard. Well, maybe, but I think they've got so much. I just read this. Well, I skimmed through this Guardian article about how Unheard started and who's behind it, and they're not. Anyway, they're not. Wesley, Dr. Phil Hammond, yeah. Patrick Bateman says, "Oh my God, there's 22 people. Wow." Dr. Phil Hammond put Jed Mercurio to rights. Well, he did actually. He said, "Well, yeah, can you answer this then?" And yeah, it was over then. Sandy Bowen blamed the jury. Yeah. Thanks, Beverly. They're all going to start doing stuff like that in the end. They'll blame the jury. So, well, we didn't say she was guilty. It's up to the jury. It was the jury that did it. Overwhelm the jury with 21 charges that they're going to be, and 10 months, longest trial in history. Hi, Asymmetry, and hi, everybody. If I've missed anybody out, sorry. I only emerge after dark. I'm sure Lucy is helped by knowing that she has supporters. Well, I really hope so. And obviously, there's a lot of people that have known Lucy from before she became a nurse, and then in training, and then from the Countess of Chester, and when she was at the Liverpool Hospital. And maybe some of those are aware of the range of all the people supporting her in all these different ways, I hope so. And then that gets back to her. I mean, I just, yeah, well, Mark McDonald said she has hope, and that was a good thing to say, wasn't it? She has hope. And he's obviously taken that from meeting her at the speaking to her one-to-one, hasn't he? You did a quality short video about that goon Ben Cole. Yeah, Ben Cole. I couldn't believe it because the face. When I saw the photograph of his face on that poster, and I thought, that's the face of this troll that I've been seeing on Twitter for the last over a year. And I shut down my old account and got a new account, he's always there. And all the people talking about it. Hi, Jolanta, lovely to see you. Hi, Asymmetry, lovely to see everyone else. Cruel and draining, poor Lucy. Yeah, it's draining. Don't make any more false fake theatre about it. I know that quite a lot of us do things like, well, like the satirical things and songs, but that's I was thinking about the word before, and that's part of it's kind of a warfare, It's a war for the truth. It's a war against lies. And that's just part of our armory against them, which is through music and through humor and through satirical barbs, to really undermine this crew of absolutely vicious characters or people without a conscience, essentially, and to get other people to see it. Yeah, Ben Cole. I maybe I'm obsessed. I got obsessed with that today, and I couldn't believe it. I wish I had some brandy in this or something like that, or vodka and orange. Sorry, I just got to keep drinking something. I'm forgetting to drink. E-Symmetry says, will the anonymous doctors be named if they're charged? Maybe. I found out Dr. B's name today, and I didn't know it before, unless I did know it and forgotten it. And there was the other thing that Susie Q told. I'm saying she told me this general thing about all the different initials they'd had. And I knew they'd had two, I knew that A had gone to U, but A was like, there was one point in the Court of Appeal document that Dr. A becomes Dr. V. And there's another Dr. V, A becomes V, becomes U. And then Dr. B becomes, what does she become? Dr. B becomes, God, what is she? She's something else. B becomes something else, becomes V. And then Dr. C becomes, I've forgotten it all, but it's just terrible. They've all got three. They've all got three letters. Can you believe it? That's the insanity we're dealing with. Yeah, Dr. B, maybe I should just look it up. Dr. B, I'll just look it up just so I can say, rather, because I've been saying it all night with people on Twitter. Twitter drives you mad as well, doesn't it? It's just madness. So, where is it now? Yeah, I'm just looking at the other screen. So, Dr. C, Dr. C in the trial becomes Dr. Z for a bit, and then becomes Dr. ZA. Can you believe that? And then Dr. A becomes V, becomes U. And then Dr. B becomes Y, becomes V. That's mad, isn't it? That's mad. Yeah, I think so. Dr. B was that, with the hand washing and the smoking breaks when she's stressed. And the one that Nurse Lucy Letby said never didn't like her. Nurse Lucy Letby felt that Dr. B didn't like her, had something in for her. But Dr. B, crucially, is the doctor, really crucially, who in 2014 was supervising another doctor in respect of baby Noah, who put this breathing tube in the wrong place. And then Dr. B repeated the procedure and also is responsible for the death of baby Noah. And that's something that Karen Rees said, or I think in an email exchange with Ariane Powell, or it was one way around or the other, but they're just saying, they're having a go at Nurse Lucy Letby here, but we've got a doctor here that's responsible for the death of a baby, meaning Dr. B from 2014. Hi, Henry Macaulay. What a tangled web, exactly. Wesley Watley, art is a powerful medium, that's true. Humour, satire, essential outlets, I agree. Especially when we're dealing with these huge edifices of these organisations, like the power of the NHS, the power of the police. Beverly Wolf says as well, and Dr. B was the one who claimed that Lucy said he's not getting out of here alive. Yeah, there's something very bad, very wrong with Dr. B. I'd like to say her name on the stream right now, but I won't. I don't suggest anybody else do it either, because it's contempt of court. I came close to doing it today on Twitter, but nothing would be achieved, would it? If one of us or more than one of us get done for contempt of court, it's not going to help anybody. It'd be pointless, really. And anyway, weirdly, the Court of Appeal already did it all. The Court of Appeal already released all the names in the first document that they had to scrabble back and and then put a new one out with the ciphers in it. Patrick Bateman. Yeah, one of the babies, that's right, Beverly. Patrick Bateman says it's disturbing how Jairam is making a business out of this with Mercurio. Do people know what he said? I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know how well they know each other or what the relationship is between them. It's all very murky. Jairam also said, "Want to talk to me? Call my agent." He said, "Yeah," because he said something like, "I don't want to sound like." And he used a word, didn't he? Like, "I don't want to sound like pretentious or something." Call my agent. Oh God, it's sickening, isn't it? Absolutely sickening. On his Facebook in 2015, I did, when you could see it all, you could see all his posts for the first half of 2015. And nearly every other day, he's in a different part of the country and doing TV interviews to push the Born Naughty show or do some other show or be on the One show or Good Morning Britain or somewhere else. He's everywhere else but at the hospital. And this is a hospital with not enough. He's only doing the 2 ward rounds a week, and they can afford to lose him as well. And he's the neonatal lead, and he can just like virtually be swanning around all the time. Agent of Satan. Sean Pepper, you can. Hi, Sean. You can FOI access police emails held about you. Has Lucy done that? I don't know. I had to do that actually. I did that earlier this year. I got a whole 80 pages. So it's quite difficult reading through some of it. It's quite unpleasant, really. But yeah, and they redact a lot of stuff. And I wondered, God, I really wonder what some of the stuff they redacted because it's all black. They sent me 80 pages of emails that I'd requested. I did a full. So I think it's called a subject access request when it's about yourself. God, that's a brilliant point, Sean. Oh my God, that's interesting. I wonder, has that been done? And only the person can do it, I think. I believe that's the case. Because it's not FOI, I think it's called subject access. That's a good point, Sean. Has anyone else thought of that as well? Like, that's new. Because if there's internal emails about her, she would have a right to have every email that mentions her. Would she not? Right back from from the moment, well, even before, but I was going to say the moment of the meeting where Jairam punches the air because it's all green light, it's all green lit, and they're going to go with it. But everything, all the way up to the trial, and right up to now, everything they're talking about with Liverpool Women's Hospital. Selfies with Phil and Holly, yeah. And also selfies with Matt Hancock. He went to the same school, not in the same year, but they were at the same school with Matt Hancock. So that's nice. That's nice, isn't it? The old alma mater. Patrick Bateman says, how Jairam has any time to be a doctor. I know, because he's playing with the band and everything. He's doing triathlons. And he's got a family, apparently, although there was that thing about, I mentioned in the thing the other day, which I'm not sure, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it, but it's the thing about being chucked out by the girlfriend, which I don't know what that means, whether it's true, but I'm not saying it's not true, but I mean, that's what, who knows? They're not talking about it, people generally, they're not going to talk about it directly, but that was the message. Keep up with the research and stuff when he's a media tart first. Yeah, how can he do that? Yeah, that's why they have to end up like. That's why he doesn't make the notes about anything, and then years down the line or ages down the line, he finds this 1987, 1989 research paper. and then backfills about all the rashes, doesn't he? The rashes, and says, oh, it's just like this paper that I didn't make any notes about, that I wasn't bothered enough about at the time. And then his excuse was like, oh, I was too busy worried about what we were doing to make a note about the rash. But but he's able to remember it perfectly, and his memory gets better with time. I've watched so many kind of like documentaries about crime and police interviews, and it's always a red flag when people's memories improve the further away the events were, isn't it? It's always a bit of a red flag. 327. Beverly Wolf says, you have to state all communications pertaining to myself. Yeah, I would hope Lucy's solicitor's already done this. Well, I would as well, but I've never heard anybody mention that, what Sean Pepper said there about all the email. Well, I suppose, yeah, perhaps he would have done that then. That's the subject access request, isn't it? Yeah, maybe when you've been charged, maybe there's other layers of it you can get as well. But then her solicitor, was he any good? I'm not saying he wasn't totally, but her lawyers sometimes make me think, well, yeah, it does me as well, Wesley. That's what a lot of people have said that on the way, haven't they? You need to talk to McDonald and raise points, Mark. Well, I hope that he's on top of everything. I mean, he's put the end of that unheard article is that he's added that to the application, hasn't he? He's added it to it. And what about Thirlwall, though? Sorry, I'll just read Patrick Bateman's message. Mark is so spot on about JR and backfilling. Oh my God, Mark put it perfectly. Memory gets better over time. Yeah, thank you, Patrick. So what Lucy de Oliveira wrote in her. Have you all seen the letter that she wrote to Thirlwall, and have you seen the responses she had from a guy called Alex, just a guy called Alex from the Thirlwall? Yeah, Beverly Wolf says memory deteriorates over time, never improves. Jairam is a curious anomaly. He's definitely a strange bird. Yeah, curious anomaly, that's true. But I'm just going to read a bit of this. Oh, where is it now? I've got so many files here. I'm not very systematic. That's the trouble. I'm looking for the letter that. Yeah, here it is. I can't see the chat at the moment. I'm just going to read a bit of the letter. So this is from Lucy de Oliveira, who's been working with David Rose and so forth, and on her own as well, and with other journalists. So basically, it's about this potentially exculpatory evidence. The email was brought to the attention of the Cheshire Police by the Thirlwall inquiry in August 2024. And then there's a bit from the CPS's disclosure letter, and then DS Paul Hughes's witness statement. Right, but the main question is she's asking is this. The two questions she asks Thirlwall is this. When did the Thirlwall inquiry become aware of the existence of Jairam's May 2017 email? Specifically, did the inquiry come into possession of this email? This is the one where Jairam says, oh, Lucy Letby called me because the sats were dropping. Before or after the start of Lucy Letby's retrial for the attempted murder of baby Kay in June 2024. So that's one question that Lucy is asking Thirlwall. So this is to the media inquiries at Thirlwall. And the second question is, why did the inquiry fail to make public the existence of Jairam's May 2017 email and failed to ask Jairam about it when he gave oral evidence on the 13th of November 2024. I mean, this shows that Thirlwall is utterly corrupted, doesn't it? Well, they've got to have a... So Lucy says, please reply by close of business today, the 11th of April 2024. So that's when she sent that. Or indicate that you do not wish to comment. And then she first gets... I don't know if Dr. B is still working at COCH. I was on the tip of my tongue to say the name then, but I won't say it. I don't know if everybody knows all this about that letter, but I thought I'd just read it through anyway, just those bits. Then this guy called Alex from Thirlwall writes back and says, thank you, I'm aware of your deadline. And it he stalls it for a bit. And then he comes back again with another email saying, our answer is this, that while the Thirlwall inquiry hasn't completed yet, we can't give you the answers to that question, because they're meant to report and create this report in the autumn, aren't they? So they don't do anything with it. Wesley Watley says, have I missed anybody else? Don't hope, it seems to be lacking. Hopefully not, in my opinion. The team. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I missed that. Oh, I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean like the team, the new defence team? Is that right, Wesley? Patrick Bateman says, Beverly will... Oh, you're so right. Memory gets worse over time. Yeah, mine certainly does. The legal team. Thanks, Wesley. Yeah. Yeah, well, Mark MacDonald, in a video not that long ago, kind of put out the request for any information. He says, don't just get in contact with us, i.e. Furnival Chambers or however. Yeah, that's how you do it, wouldn't you? I've written to there. I know other people have as well. And he said, if you think of something, just, it might be something really useful. And he put it out as a general request. So maybe people are doing that. But I know, is it Keith? I think it's Keith. Oh, sorry, is it Keith Simmons? The gentleman who is an anaesthetist and was, I think he's retired, but was an anaesthetist for like 37 years, makes this amazing point about if there was a sudden extubation of baby K, then the SATs would drop so quickly, and the alarms would go off so quickly because there'd be so little oxygen getting through that it would set the alarms off, and oxygen levels, the saturation levels would be dropping. So, if I remember rightly what you said, it'd be so quick that anybody that wouldn't have a chance to do anything before the alarms go off, as it were. You wouldn't have that waiting period that Jairam says he comes back and then he watches them drop like they're going slowly down. And that's the point that Keith makes. And he's made it a lot of times in comments. And he said to me that he did write that to Mark MacDonald. He said that and he hadn't had a reply. But I was hoping that Mark MacDonald would see it and, take it all on board, Mark MacDonald is clever because he's got loads of worldwide experts. Yeah, he's got all those. That's true. Yeah, it's fantastic how that's worked out. MacDonald seems a good guy, And he started off in the medical world, didn't he, Mark MacDonald? His background is medical as well, isn't it? Did you know that? I looked it up. Beverly Wolf. Interesting that Jairam conveniently recalled an incident he witnessed after the police stated they would require such a thing in order to progress. Yeah. Well, it is, isn't it? But when he writes the email on the 4th, this is the trouble. This is why I made those videos when I was talking about it's the notes. He's doing it from notes, because why would he? When he's writing that email to those other people, he's trying to feed it all in, and it's all about piquing the police's interest. I've had this discussion with Northern Lass, who's a Twitter account, a very good Twitter account on Twitter. And I can't let it go that it was from a note, but maybe I'm completely wrong about it. The line about Lucy asking him for help, coming out. Well, presumably coming out of the room, but then, like I said in the video, is like, well, if the alarms are going, would you need to come out and get him? Wouldn't he be reacting? Wouldn't you react straight away? Wouldn't you? And apparently, Nurse Williams said the alarms are going, and I think Dr. Smith, and I know I've seen people say this, that Dr. Smith said he remembers the alarms. And he also doesn't, Dr. Smith in the testimony doesn't remember Lucy Letby being there. I think that's right as well. So it's such a utter dog's dinner that they should never have got the baby case retrial through, should they? Back to the PSYOP idea. The idea that they could get that retrial through and get a conviction for it is almost like doing something terrible and evil against like a torture. It's a continuation of the torture of Lucy Letby, but psychologically, to everybody that knows about this and cares about it, it's almost like saying, well, we can do this as well. We can actually show you that in the middle of it, prosecution can just change up all the times because they got all the door data wrong, and it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. So, go back to the first trial, and so my heart's going. I'm getting this thudding pulse thing. Back to the first trial. John with his watch. Oh, I looked at my watch. It's 9:50. Myers goes, oh, do you usually do that? Do you remember when you do that? And he said, yeah, on this time I did, because it's engraved, it's engraved into his memory forever, the nightmares, all that spiel. But for the retrial, it can all just move it, It doesn't work for the door data, just move it back to, what was it? Between 342 and 345, wasn't it? But anybody who hasn't, please check out Pauline Ralph's video, which is on Jabe's channel, Jabe. Jabe's Allowed. Yeah, it's called Jabe. Yeah, but it's Jabe's Allowed is the handle, But Jabe's channel, Pauline Ralph's video, where she goes through everything that's wrong with Jairam's testimony, and what happened to the other nurse. Oh God, what's her name now? Not Nurse Williams, the other one, Oakley, Caroline Oakley. It's like she's not there. Anyway, sorry. Getting their stories straight. Yeah, exactly. They were going off. Yeah, I think they were going off. Wesley Watley says, email McDonald Hayes. Mays, yeah. You're well qualified to. But this is the thing. I'm not qualified in anything. I don't have any qualified. I'm not qualified. I'm just kind of found myself, like so many of us have done, and all of us talking about it. I'm not qualified in any way. I know that doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it, but in that world, it's like, I think. But then they've got on the other side, if you're unheard, and you can be Ben Bloody Cole, and you can just be like a random vicious troll, and you're like invited to this. I'm not saying that it's nothing to do with like I would want to be there. I wouldn't want to be there. I think the whole thing's abysmal. I wouldn't want to argue with them. It's beneath me to should be beneath us to argue with Snowden. We know what Snowden's about. We know what he's about, innit? Beverly Wolf says, Baby K being undecided. Trial, yeah, undecided, exactly. Trial 1 was extremely embarrassing for Jayaram, yeah. And was, as we now know, isn't it, was the impetus to get the investigation going. Without that, I can't speak. Would have an investigation have started at all? Quite possibly not. So it's almost as though. So Beverly Wolf goes on to say, I believe they had to convict Lucy for this in the second trial to quiet the noise. Yeah. And they had that period, didn't they, as well? It worked on that level in between the trials of shutting down. Didn't shut us down at all. Not on here, not on Twitter. But it shut down the mainstream media. You know, it shut down Peter Hitchens. It shut down all the people with who would call themselves professional journalists, and it shut them down, but didn't shut the rest of us down. But then, you know, yeah, to quiet the noise. Yeah, the noise hasn't gone away. That was so disrespectful of Thirlwall. You know, they really looked down on, I think they looked down on the people. They just looked, it comes out in their language. You get the more obvious insults like your ghouls and misfits from the likes of Liz Hull, who is either a ghoul or, well, I don't know, maybe not, whatever, you know, just a kind of tabloidy journalist, whatever. Although some of the other journalists have done amazing. Sarah Napton's done amazing. Anouk Curry, Felicity Lawrence. I haven't heard anything from Felicity Lawrence for a while on this. I wonder whether she's still looking into this or whether she's working with someone. Obviously, Lucy de Oliveira, David Rose is obviously part of that as well. It's just a shame he's doing this nonsense with the, you know, with this trial nonsense thing. The knowledge you have is qualifiable of this case, yeah, but we're in a world in which I realise this. It's just realpolitik, unfortunately, Wesley, or people in these systems and the world at large. It kind of leaves you open to attack if you're just someone. We'll just say, well, who are you? You're just a bloke, whoever it happens to be, which one of all of us it is. Oh, you're just somebody in a room drinking orange juice or port, you know, with the fairy lights on. You know, who are you? You just want. But if it's someone, you know, like yeah, with a medical background. I'm not saying it has to be a medical background, but that does help a lot of the time, and for certain settings, you know, or mathematical or the statistical background and stuff like that. Obviously, or Sonia Poulton as well. You know, she's done great because she's had Richard on there and she's been asking questions about it all. Unheard of barrister Adam King and respected journalist David Rose. Why get a pair of Letby haters on? Yeah, because they're trying to set up this dynamic like it's a trial, which is the distasteful thing in and of itself. But maybe they just did it to try to attract people. But I think it's distasteful anyway. Hi, hi, Jenny. Love to you from where am I? Somerset, England, South Somerset. So Jenny's here from America here. I'm sure you'll know her from Missouri. Is it Missouri, isn't it? You say that you're around the Missouri. Gosh, I imagine it's like about 10 o'clock there or something like that, 5 hours before. It's 8 hours in California, isn't it? And about 5 hours or maybe 6 hours in the Midwest or something. Sean Pepper says, nurses trained to up oxygen levels to get SATs up. No change, call for help. Yeah. Not sure of their protocols and ward training, right. Yeah, and you've got this thing about them that you wait to see if the baby self-corrects. That's that idea as well, isn't it? It's all down to Jayaram. We don't know that Lucy Letby was in that room. She likely wasn't in that room at that point. Maybe she came after the alarms. And at the point, so here's the thing, isn't it? When is the first time that Lucy Letby is specifically asked about that formally, in terms of being put on the spot about that? And she hasn't necessarily thought about it in the intervening time. It's in her arrest in, is it July 2018? I forget the months across the 3 arrests. Anyway, middle of 2018. So she's got to remember back. When does she have to remember back to? February 2016. So over two years, and she's had all the stress, been taken away from her job in the intervening period, and she's been doing that admin job, and she's had her career destroyed actually in the intervening period, and is like distraught all the time. And then the police suddenly say, oh, I saw something on Twitter, they were just asking all these questions. There's a detective asking her in that interview. She says, the detective, female detective, asked Lucy Letby, she said, Dr. Jayaram said that when he came into the room and saw you there, that extubation must have happened between 30 seconds and 60 seconds before. In other words, you were standing there for 30 to 60 seconds by the cot doing nothing. And then she goes on to say that the detective, oh, did you take the tube out, Lucy? And she said, no, I've got no memory of doesn't remember the event, doesn't remember if the alarms are going, but says that if the alarms were going, then people would come to it, obviously. It's something that this bastard Jayaram has made up because he's implicated, along with Dr. Smith, in these traumatic, failed intubations and, 3 in a row, and using the wrong diameter tube, isn't it? With a 94% leak. And then trying to make out as it's okay to have a 94% leak. And what did Shula Lee say? It's like having a straw and then blowing through the straw through a garden hose to try to blow something at the end of the hose, to inflate something up, inflate something at the end of the hose. I Only Emerge After Dark. I love that name. Do you know that ex-Supreme Court Justice Lord Sumption has come out in support of you? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was fantastic. I mean, that was great. That really matters, I think. Gives me a sense something like that happening is that piece by piece, like the arranging of a set of pieces on a chessboard, the system, the establishment is making noises, appropriate noises from different parts of itself to signal that it is going to change, but they're working out how to do it with as little damage to the overall system as a whole. And the media are doing the same, and you've got this double page spread today where you've got a picture of, right next to each other, you've got Jayaram as a clown, or you've got him quite looking haggard and haunted and a bit villainous actually. And you've got Lucy at that picture taken at this kind of sports event or wherever it was, or a concert, and she's looking happy and light and innocent and just carefree. And a lot of people made the point on Twitter tonight, is that in that article they don't use the term killer nurse. They don't use it. They don't use the phrase killer nurse. They don't do it. That's massive. It's massive, as people were saying, and the pictures Change is massive. Sorry, you must be sick of me whittering on, are you? I hope not. I mean, I hope. I'm just... Anyway, I'll keep reading the things. Keep reading the points, because that's what it's for. It's all lies, Sean. We're trying to make sense of a lie. What was that in relation to? Oh, Sean. Yeah, that's it. We're trying to make sense of a lie. That's a really good point. That's the rabbit hole of this, to try to work out which bits is right about his account, who was there, when it happened, the alarms, the morphine, the SATs level. It's all a construction after the event. 15 months after the event, when he went, 15 months after he writes that email. And I just can't get past this idea that line, maybe I'm just talking crap, but that line about Lucy Letby coming out to ask for help, that it's on a note somewhere, or was on a note somewhere, and that he's mistakenly copied it out, as it were. And then in the intervening period, it has to get dropped. So between the 4th and when? Well, presumably the 10th, because the 10th is when JRM writes the email and sends the documents, which ends up in the meeting of the 15th. So when he sends those documents on the 10th, that line's disappeared. You know, the document they're all making up to pique the interest, that line's gone. But they're all on their WhatsApp message groups, aren't they? These consultants, all on the WhatsApp thing. So maybe there's been round robin of all this stuff. They're all working it up, and one of them says, or maybe JRM says himself, "Oh well, I better take that out." Oh yeah, or maybe, I suddenly don't remember that happened. Or was it a note? And that was my theory, and it is a theory, hypothesis, that note had to go, and it was based on a note. Sorry, I'm rattling on too much. What's great is all the international support for Lucy. The troll haters are all UK only. That's true, actually. I mean, you've got obviously. Oh God, what's her name? Dr. Susan Oliver. But it's just silly. That's silly now. And then there's another one called Human Animal that's also very strange. But yeah, by and large, it's really. That's why I'm not having a go at David Rose, what he was doing with Andy Howe. Of course I'm not, because that's a good podcast that we need more of those. Maybe I just overdid it about this thing today. I don't know if I overdid it. Maybe I did. This stupid thing. Maybe to let them get on with their stupid bit of theatre. It's going to have no... It's not going to make anything worse, in the sense that it's not going to stop the CCRC agreeing, is it? It's not going to do anything like that. So maybe it's just irritating and it seems pointless. The poor baby must have been in absolute agony. Yeah, gosh. Jenny, Mark, you aren't just not some bloke, but a man with a heart, a man with a... Well, we all are. Thank you, Jenny. We all are. I'm the little... We're all we're all on that. That's where we're all coming from, isn't it? And obviously there are people like yourself with decades and decades of experience, and you can see what's been going on here. And all the nurses that signed that letter, that was it about 400 nurses signed the letter, or nurses and other medical professions signed the letter that was delivered to the Prime Minister. I'm not sure what response did they get from that now. What happened there again? It's hard to keep track, isn't it? And the petition online, I think that got up to about 4,000 the last time I looked. I'd love to see the WhatsApp messages, Beverly Wolf, as well. And as people mentioned on Twitter today, and other people have mentioned, and I'm sure Operation Merlin Falcon, and lots of other people commenting on in the comments and everywhere. You know, that should have all been part of the evidence that the police gathered, and not let that group of consultants lead them by the nose, and they were just happy to be led. The police were. Jenny, Jairam with his clown outfit and glitter purple eyeshadow. Yeah, that was quite creepy, wasn't it? Very creepy. Who was it who said in a comment? Maybe it was in a comment. I'm getting mixed up because I've been going between Twitter and comments on YouTube today. And they said that that clown show thing that is no longer on BBC iPlayer for some reason, but maybe there's another reason. Somebody thought it had been taken off recently. Sean Pepper says, dislodgement of tube will set alarms off. Yeah. Murderers switch alarms off. Doesn't make sense. That's it. Well, here's another. Well, this is. I mean, I know you know all this. I know most people know all this, I'm sure. But I'll just say it that Jairam, in his first police interview, this, and my Aunt Myers brings it up in trial number 1. He says, in your first police interview, Dr. Jairam, you said you didn't know, you couldn't remember, or you didn't know whether the alarms are going off. And then later on, as he goes further and further on, and he gives his testimony, he said and it reaches the point where they're definitely not going off. So it's another one of those memory things. First you don't know or can't remember, then he has to remember to make it fit with the story. They're not going off. What a bastard. What an absolute git. I hope they are suspended. Haven't had confirmation formally, have we? But or whatever the status, whatever they want to call it. There's a Substack that Dr. Scott McLachlan did very recently, one of his most recent ones, in which he talks about a lot of different subjects, but he's obviously coming into the Lucy Letby case as well in this particular Substack, because he did loads of them, you know. But he says at least 2 doctors are under investigation, essentially, at COCH. Now, he's not making a very specific, it doesn't say in the neonatal unit. Have a look at Law Health Tech. I'll write it down here. Law Health Tech Substack. I'm trying to find it, the latest one he did. I'm just looking it up now. That's why I'm just pausing. No, where would it be? Oh, I can't find it. But it's a recent one. When did he do it? I can't promise. It's called I Can't Promise Anything. I Can't Promise Anything, it's called. That's the name of the Substack. You'll find it on the left on the main page. I'm just looking for the bit where he says, and Dr. Scott McLachlan has been doing all this stuff right from the beginning, and was listing all the signs and symptoms of sepsis all the way from the beginning. Sorry for this pause, but it's just, oh, here's a bit. It's about a third of the way through, and there's this line. There's a line, it says here, and at least 2 doctors from the Countess of Chester Hospital. It says here, several large-scale collections of cases are under investigation. So who are they being investigated by? Well, they're under investigation. Does that mean the police or the GMC or the hospital itself internally? Or It just says at least 2 doctors from the Countess of Chester Hospital. It's not being made explicit, but I think it's a nod towards the idea, well, it could be our 2 characters, you know. Purple eyeshadow. The clown with the glitter purple eyeshadow tortured a baby to death. Well, he's definitely, he didn't, well, as Dr. Shu Lee and Dr. Shu Lee at that second, the really powerful 2-hour sorry, I'm getting a bit tired, the 2-hour conference. And he said in between each one, he said, well, now let's look at the evidence and see what really happened. And he'd keep using that as a refrain. Now let's look at the evidence and see what really happened. And Jenny and everybody, he was saying, wasn't he? He said this doctor, Jayaram, didn't know how to use that equipment, didn't know the basics of the resuscitation, didn't know the basics of how the capnograph worked. And he went through every element of it. And it's like he didn't know any of it. That's what Dr. Shu Lee said. He said it publicly, that the consultant didn't know what he was doing, any element of it at all. The fact that leak would mean that the fact that he tried to use the Neo puff, which didn't have the required pressure, that's right, isn't it? The fact that he misunderstood how the capnograph worked, all that stuff, all that business, didn't know, and the resuscitation. Nurses Oakley and Williams contradicted him too. Yeah, Nurse Williams said that what was the contradiction, Beverly, that Nurse Oakley said? What was that with regard? If you could you tell us, please, in the chat? That would be helpful, because I don't know that much about. Because I thought Nurse Oakley generally, she kind of says, I've got no memory of that night. But what was it that Nurse Oakley said contradicted him? I'm not doubting it. I just can't remember what it was. Shame Susan Oliver's dog can't speak. I bet Cindy would say free. I bet she would as well. But she's captive, isn't she? She's relying on treats that she gets through Susan Oliver's channel. So poor Lucy is captive, sort of a captive audience, and maybe she's got Stockholm syndrome as well. Yeah, Law Health Tech Substack, and it's called I Can't Promise Anything. That's one to bookmark if you wish to. Sean Pepper, I know from experience her perceived actions will result in immediate bollocking and a serious incident report made as per NHS protocols, dated and signed. Oh, right, yeah, in the moments of that, yeah. Yeah, exactly, but nothing happened. But the story tells that he was too concerned about what was going on, that he was just focusing on that, doesn't he? And then just keeps it to himself and doesn't even tell Breary. He's in the same office as Breary, doesn't even mention it. Doesn't tell as Operation Merlin Falcon says, and other people. He's meeting. Yeah, he meets the CQC lady. I've forgotten her name. Later that day, he doesn't mention it. It's bizarre. It's not believable. None of it. Sean Pepper, he had the authority to remove her from the shift immediately as a safeguarding risk. Exactly, yeah. Didn't do it. And it's coming. When is it coming? February 2016? And they're already all in a state of hysteria and suspicion and gossip and what he is alleged to have said in a canteen or lunch queue about nurse death and the murdering, the nurse murdering patients and all that business and all the gossiping of the junior doctors, So yeah, absolutely. E-Symmetry says Jayaram's whole career needs review. They would find things. Well, they would. They would find things. They absolutely would. Gosh, it's 6 minutes past 4. I might bring it to a close now. I hope that's all right. But thank you ever so much for being here. I know you all understand. It's intense, isn't it? It's for all of us. I think it's such an intense thing and such a weird. It's just weird to think of all these. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of people involved in making this happen and keeping it going. You know, this injustice. Hundreds of them. In terms of all the people playing their parts, you know. Madness. Jenny says, sad a man with a medical degree could put on purple eyeshadow and not know how to intubate a baby. Yeah, he's better with the eyeshadow than... But this was a guy that at that time, you know, in the Paul Brand interview, and I know that comes later, but he said he qualified. He said he's been a paediatrician since 1995, is it? So when that's happening, he's had 21 years experience as a paediatrician. I know he's not a neonatologist, but he's obviously been... Oh, did everybody catch the thing on the second interview? This was new to me. We didn't know this. Nobody said this all the way along until I heard Michelle Warden say to Peter Elston in their second kind of thing that they did on the table, really, really good interaction. Michelle Warden said that it used to be a level 3. It was a level 3 unit. And I think the date was 2004. They brought it down to a level 2. The old story that people were going with right from the beginning was that it had gone up from a level 1 to a level 2. This is going back to the old days now for 2023, you know, when people were looking into it and people were trying to figure that out. When did it go up to a level 2? But no, it was the other way around. And if you haven't seen that video, Michelle Warden, she mentions 3 hospitals that were all level 3s and they all got reduced to level 2. And then she said because the uptake was going to be taken up by Liverpool Women's Hospital, and I think perhaps Alderhay, I think was the other one, or Arrow Park, I don't know. But anyway, these other level 3s were meant to take up all the... So how would that work? How would that work? How was it? Well, I guess that was working at a level 3 because they had all those high-level nurses, Band 8 nurses that they got rid of. That's an amazing interview that was with Peter Elston. Mass trauma, this case. Yeah, it is a mass trauma. It's like a trauma bonding thing. I think there's an element of that, and that chimes in with this PSYOP idea. I'm not saying it's not real, but there's some... I know this is a completely different situation, but I don't know, people might have very different views about it, but the very sad death of Nicola Bulley as well was very extremely strange how it was presented to us, you know, on a psychological level, really, over a long period of time. But anyway, yeah, check out that Peter Elston, Michelle Warden interview. It was a level 3. But she said when these other level 3s try to take the level 3 work, as it were, or make up the beds, but they didn't do it like for like, is the phrase she used. In other words, they ended up with a shortfall, and that's another reason why you end up with Cancer Chester Hospital wrongly having to deal with even babies that should be at level 3. That's what I took from it. And another thing she says in that interview is, no, I can't remember the date now, but it's a business case that Arian Powell makes out. I think it's Arian Powell or Karen Rees. I get them mixed up. Anyway, one of the nursing managers makes that business case. I think in 2014? Anyway, the business case is that they need another 10 nurses, and they need they need another 10. I think it's 2014. So just before, in the year of, sadly, of baby Noah passing away, and that they needed 10 nurses and at least 10 band 5 nurses and 2 nurse practitioners. And they didn't get them. They didn't get them at all. But it showed, and that's what Peter Elson says in the interview, it showed the lack, the level of the lack. It showed the disparity between what they had and what they needed. But really, church tours, yeah. Oh, thank you, yeah, Jenny. Yeah, got to get back to church. I didn't go to church today. I'm kind of agnostic. I went to church in the week, and I went to an evening prayer. It was like 8:30 at night. It was really nice because it was quite dark. I walk up to this church in the village, and this kind of very soft light was glowing through these old leaded light windows. And it was a beautiful kind of romantic feel about it, like a postcard, or going back in time. And there's only about, I mean, I'm not saying I'm a believer, I'm kind of agnostic, but I went to it. It's quite comforting. But there's only about 15 people there. And it's only about 40 minutes long, which is, I find it hard when it's a bit longer. But it goes on for too long. But anyway, that was quite good. Sorry for yawning. That's very rude, isn't it? I can't help it, but it's just, maybe it's time to hit the hay. Gosh, 1 hour, 36 minutes. Thank you ever so much, everybody, for being here, and I hope I've not missed reading any comments out. Strange indeed, mass trauma, yeah. It is. Some of the people that I met, really lovely people in Liverpool, there's a sense of the camaraderie element, but there's a sense with some people, I think especially if they're working in that environment, that I'm not saying they're traumatized, but they're in a state of incredibly moved, and there's a great perplexity there about how this has come about, and a fear, really. It's a fear around speaking about it and not wanting to be seen, and I understand all that. I mean, I do some other work, but it's not connected to anything directly to anything like that. So, it's not, but other people, their jobs could be on the line, couldn't they? Their jobs on the line, and they've seen what's happened to their erstwhile colleague. My eyes are going. Anyway, stop moaning. Thank you ever so much, everybody. Still see there's 29 people, and I wish you a good night. Wherever you are in the world. Good night, Wesley Watley. Thumbs up, yeah, that's it. And good night, everybody. And what's the phrase? Nil desperandum. Nil desperandum. From Georgia. Oh, you're in Georgia. Georgia in America, or Georgia in? Sorry, I'm not trying to find out where you are, but I know there's a Georgia in Russia, isn't there? Or not in Russia, but it's another country, isn't it? Or the EU. Sorry, the Georgia. Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Georgia on my mind. There's some brilliant songs about Georgia, and I know it's a different Georgia, but Last Train to Georgia, that's a great song. Anyway, anywho, as they say, God bless everybody, and take care. It's going to work out in the end. It's going to get there. And that's fantastic, Dave John, because I was at my friend's in Wales some time ago, and She needed a lot. Good night, asymmetry. God bless. I'll just mention this last little thing. She needed my friend needed a lock changing, and the guy has got a house in Bulgaria, and he's going to be moving out there permanently. And he did a rundown of how much cheaper it is to live in Bulgaria and what you get for buying somewhere, and the taxes are so low, and food and everything's cheap, and travel and everything. And well, that's a nice little thing. Was Wesley of is it Watley Wesley or Wesley Watley? Wesley Watley. Sophia, yeah. Oh, that's Bulgaria, isn't it? Sophia, is that right? My geography is terrible sometimes. But yeah, he said it was amazing. They live quite by the sea, and he literally did a rundown of like electric power costs and everything. All right. Oh, thank you. Well, you know all this from living in Georgia as well. Probably a similar kind of deal. Anyway, I'll say good night, and it's hard to leave. Actually, I don't know. It's time to go to bed, isn't it? So in where you are now, Dave John, it's probably an hour later, is it? I don't know. Is it like coming up to 6 a.m? Is it, or maybe it's 2 hours later? $300 for rent all in. That's incredible, isn't it? $300 as well, not pounds even. I loved it when I went to Prague for a little bit. 7:20. Bloody hell. Also 3 hours. You're 3 hours ahead. Extraordinary. And Jenny's behind UK time, I guess, 5 or 6 hours, and there's maybe other people in different places. Anyway, good night all, and take it easy. I'm going to end the stream now, and thank you all ever so much. You went away to Prague to get away from the COVID thing. I don't blame you. Prague's beautiful. I loved it there. I was there for about 3 or 4 weeks once, and yeah, amazing place. Take care. Good night all. Bye-bye. And think things are going to work out with everything. Bye for now. Bye.